So I went to the local Hispanic restaurant or Mexican restaurant, whatever you want to call it. And kind of a weird thing happened when I got home, and I don't know exactly how to explain it, but like I said, right. Now I got two sets of keys, one with a key and one without, right? Right. So usually, I got a little way to get back in either way, and but I was pretty sure I picked up the key with the key to the house on it, right? When I got back from the restaurant, right, and also going to Walmart, right, afterwards to buy some milk and juice and maybe a little snack for later on, right? So I get back and I bring my stuff to the door and I go to unlock the door, but my key was the wrong key, that I thought I had gotten the right key, right, of the two keys, right. But then, right, like I said, right, I had to get in the alternative way, in which I got a way to, get in and out without a problem, right. And I can know if someone tries to get in or out that way too, right? Like I said, with this door, I have three locks: a chain lock, a gate lock, which, that just slides back and forth, but it's kind of hard to get in that way. And also a common lock. Reason is if someone can lock the front door, right, or get in, right, again, right, I'm making sure no one can just get in, right? Even if they can pick the lock on the door, right? So, who can get in, though, at night? Only someone I know and trust or a female, right? Right. And see, even my old friends, I ain't seen them in a while, so I'll be kind of wondering, depending on how late they are, if they were to show up, what was going on. And I probably would try to more talk to them outside than inside, you know what I mean? Right? Like, see them in a while or something, right? Plus, my house ain't exactly immaculate, right? Since I'm disabled now and have to rest more to even stop the pain, right? In my back and ankle. But not a lot of people can even get in or out the house, like I said. And I got a way to tell if you try to get into the garage or something, right? One way or the other. And I usually lock the doors back, or, just in case, unlock it once in a while and then lock it back. Or I have a way to know if someone was in there. Like, for instance, if you go out that way, right, and I have something in front of the door, you'll move it when you go in or out, right? And if it's not where it was, right, I would know someone came in and out. It's like finding a cigarette butt in your house, right, and you don't smoke, right? And the only people who did smoke were out your house for 2 years, right? And that would be Amanda and Mike, right? Anyway. Now, like I said, I told you this before. When I say I'm making something up, you won't believe me, right? When I say I'm not making something up, you also don't believe me, right? But then when I show you I was always mentally ill, that means I was capable of learning things, right? Even after I went mentally ill, if it's at a certain age, right? Anyway, like 23 or 24, right? When I finally did start hearing voices, right? Like in the Bible, after reading what the Christian Fellowship Church showed me from the Bible, right? Right. Now, before the Navy, I was dealing with religious people in the South and had no problem with what they were showing me, though some people do, especially the gay people, and I understand why. They're kind of hard on you, right? They call homosexuality an abomination. So I understand that, right? But I also learned about the Gnostic Gospels, which the people who are running the church now tried to do away with. I know. In a very militant way. But ain't our God the God of peace, right? It's men who war against other men for believing differently than it. Yeah, it is. Yeah, it is. Even Emperor Constantine supposedly was raised in paganism and supposedly converted to Christianity, right? At a certain time, right? In his life, right? They say he had a vision of the cross. But again, right? Tolerating people, because, their religion is more popular, which Rome would kind of do that once in a while. You know, though they really hated the Christian religion. Well, I think I found out why. The Gnostics are talking about an androgynous Jesus, right? Meaning he's fully biologically male and female, like today it's true hermaphrodite, right? Which makes it humanly possible for him to be one, right? By the way, if they're hermaphrodites today, right? And Jesus was one 2,000 years ago, this church system is hiding it, not God or Jesus or men, right? Unless you think Peter himself did something crazy to hide it. Like try to burn Jesus' body like he was a witch or something, right? Because he was male and female. And doing all those wonderful magical stuff, I guess, right? Now, only if his Jewish mind, right, thought Jesus was a witch, like the witch of Endor, right, by the way, would he even consider burning his body, right? Because it says, you shall burn a witch, right? Right? But that's what the Salem witch trials were about, which were found, what? Inhumane, right? That's the point. Peter, if he's being that kind of a Jew, right, is no longer a Christian or a Jew, right? Right. You can't have Jesus in your life and then deny him because he's both, right? Which some of the prophets mention different things about the angel of the Lord in whom image Christ was made in anyway. Now, the one making you, its son and daughter, is greater than the mother and father who raised you in their humanity, right? Meaning Joseph and Mary, of course, right? Now, like I told you, we know something breathed into Adam's nostrils, his nose, the breath of life, right? Well, what does that mean? Well, you ever heard of CPR? If you make a body, right, with all the blood, with all the, fresh from the earth, with no corruption in it, a perfect body, right? And you breathe into it like CPR, it becomes alive, right? But you need a human-like image to do so. Or an angelic one, right? By the way, has to breathe into its nostrils, right? A breath, right? Yahweh, from Ha Ya and Hava, means to breathe, right? Or the breath, right? All breath, right? Now, Yahvahuhi, right, can mean all breathing he she. A cod, right? Like Paul said, the male and the female are one in Christ Jesus, the Jew and Gentile, bond and free, right? So again, right? If you can't get past that scripture, you're following men and not God, right? And God is not a man, right? Nor is it men, right? Singular or plural, right? The only way it could be called a man but not a man is it if it's male but male and female, right? Then you can call it a man but not a man as well. Why? I don't know. It's both, I suppose. You can also call it a female. They do that too. I know they do. LL, if you interpret it correctly, because there's only HY. There's only so many vowel points that will fit there, right? Right. Do you think it's an E with a double, two dots by each other, right? Or an I, which would be under the H, right? Like with he for a she. Now, he means L and L she. Or almighty and almighty she. El hey might not even mean anything, right? Even behold has an aleph at the end. And there's another way to say it, but it's HN, right? Y, I think, right? You have an N, right, in between the H and the Y. Hey would be totally a new way to say that word, by the way. The behemoth or hemoth, right, is kind of done that way. But there's no Y. Right. So if it's just HY, and she, like who, can be at the end of a name, right? Now, Yahoo means what? All he. Yahi would mean what? All she. Yahuwah would mean what? All he, her. And Yahoo, he would mean all he, she, echad, right? Right. Now, Moses never said you can't do a commentary on his work. But what he did say is don't change what I wrote, right? Initially, right? To learn what I mean, right? I'm writing to you from 3,500 years ago, and you might miss something I'm saying, right? And get the wrong idea. Now, like I explained it to you, I know when you eat a piece of fruit, it has nothing to do with your genitalia. But if angels can assume a human form, and men were made in the form, right? And then made two, and they are one, right? Like Jesus, right? Then the devil, Satan, also is both, right? So are the other angels, right? Now, the Gnostics also say Christ is neither angel or a man, right? Uh-oh. Kind of limits it in what it can be, right? So if you're neither an angel or a man, you're neither celestial nor terrestrial, right? But both somehow, right? See, he's the mediator. A mediator mediates between the angels and the human beings, right? All of them, circumcised or not circumcised, which is what Jew or Gentile means, right? Though even Egyptians circumcise themselves. Even Arabs circumcise themselves. But they do it in the 13th year of the male child, right? The Jews do it on the 8th day when vitamin K is the strongest in the male form, right? Now, females can also be circumcised. It's also called genital mutilation, right? And men, you're ignorant of a woman's body, right? And the things that she has down there. Mm-hmm. And some of them circumcise her clit, which is her pleasure center, like yours. Though unlike yours, hers is on the top and yours is on the bottom of your shaft. You know what I mean? Right. Because I'm one of you and I know them too, right? Now, like I said, if a child was to show up, all I could do is entertain her, right? Until you come and get her. Because I know you'll get her before morning, right? If anyone under the age of 14 or 15 comes to my house, right, first they gotta have an ID, right? Or they're not getting in either, I know. But 12 to 16-year-old can look like a little gymnast, produce a fake ID, and I not even know, right? Though I wouldn't just try to, again, be with anyone under 16 in Georgia because that's our age of consent since I was a child, right? Now, I would prefer the age to be 18, but I'm not the lawmakers, right? At least that's what I heard growing up, right? And every time I go on the dating site, I give an age group, 18 to 62, or, somewhere around my age, right? Mm-hmm. No more than 10 years, right? The reason I do that is we can be assholes, males and females. We can be nice, males or females, and we can be frenemies, right? You know what I mean, right? Or we can try to do each other right. That's our three choices there, right? Some want to do you flat out evil, right? And some don't, right? Exactly. Now, if when I went to the restaurant, though, like I said, I sat down, I put in my order. When the girl brought the water as my drink, and the chips, right? I ate the chips first. And my order still didn't come. Right. And I had to finish the chips, right? Then wait about 5 or 10 minutes longer for the meal. Somewhere in there, right? The only if jokingly, right? I said to my waitress, right? We could have gone to my house and had sex and come back by this time, right? If it took a while for the meal. I would be just teasing anyway. Joking with her. But, like I said, oddly enough, when I got home from the Wal-Mart, which is in Recon, right? When I got home, I had the wrong key somehow. As well. Which I thought I had gotten the key with the key on it when I left. I looked at both keys and I thought I grabbed the right key. When I came home, right, the keys were swapped, right? And the only place I was at is the restaurant or Walmart. And if you don't know, right, what's going on, all you can do is say, well, I don't know how that happened, right? I thought I grabbed the right key when I left, right? And I have a choice between the two keys on the table there. And I thought I picked the right key with the key to the house on it, right? Before I left, right? But when I got home, I had the wrong key. Right? I had the key without the key on the keychain. Like with the Mustang key, right? The key of the keychain, part of the keychain was off the keychain. Right? Ain't that confusing? Yeah. And I have to explain this to my psychologist or psychiatrist, whatever he is. And again, right? Or my mom, something happened to my key, right? Someone ripped the key off the keychain of the key. The key, right? What I meant by that is the keychain to the keychain was still on the keychain, but the keychain from the keychain was taken off the keychain, right? And I gotta explain that to you, right? Right. Wow. That ain't gonna confuse no one, huh? And what I mean is there was a part of the keychain that was still on the keychain, but also part of the keychain was broken off of the keychain so that the keychain was no longer fully on the keychain, right? But try explaining that to someone. Oh, the keychain was taken off the keychain. Might as well say Shane sells seashells by the seashore and all that. You can say that too. You can say that too. But it's really Sally, but who cares? Who cares? But see, like I told you about anyone who wants to marry me, I'm not worried that you're a virgin or not, right? If you say you are, or you want to marry me and you tell me you never had sex, things like that, I'll believe you, right? Though sometimes people can say that, and mean it sarcastically, right? And then you're going to confuse me because I'm going to think you're waiting for marriage, right? If you tell me you ain't had sex yet, right? I'll think you're waiting for marriage and I'll wait on you, right? But if you tell me you have and you want to be with me and you ain't been with someone in a while, that's different, right? Like Maribel, I knew wasn't a virgin, but it didn't bother me. But what did bother me is she wouldn't leave her ex fully and commit to me, right? She was always over at his house or Steve's house, who she told me was his friend, making sure she didn't cheat on him or something. And whatever, okay. But see, the problem was he took off with her and I didn't know where he was going with her. I didn't know he wasn't kidnapping her or trying to bring her to the bar or something, right? When I did follow her the one time, and she's 19 or 18, whatever, and she's a child, right? No, she's my age. I was 25, right? She was 19 or 18, right? Still legal in Virginia, in Virginia. And 2 to 3 years from the UCMJ. Now that applies internationally or when I'm at sea. Mm-hmm. Now, the girls they had on the Saipan had to be at least 16 or older, right, to even sell with us. And, but I never made a move on them because A, they were birthed with the officers, right? And B, I don't go there anymore. When I was working with the officers, I did 3 jobs. One was working in the scullery or in the wash dishes room. For you who don't know that. The other was serving the officers for about a month. And the third was working in the staterooms. The people on the ship are probably trying to be officers anyway. Mm-hmm. And they're put in the officers' quarters, not mine. No. I'm with the enlisted men, right? We're more at the front of the ship, or the head, right, of the ship. No. Anyway. And it's a ship, not a boat. A boat is what Noah was on. A ship is what we are on. Now, son, you got to keep your hair cut. Mm-hmm. Are they going to pick on you about that? They're going to ask you if you're going bald or something, right? Reason they do that, son, you got to keep your hair cut, right? Short, you're in the military. Right. No, I had to keep mine cut till I got out. No. Now I'm 52, son, right? I know. And I'm not in the military. I don't have to play by their rules anymore, right? Unless they re-enlist me or something, right? I am in the reserved of the Navy, of the military, right? But since I'm disabled, I'm also the last person they'll call, right? Right. I'm not the first, right? I'm in what's called the inactive reserve, right? I would go before a civilian, but not before an able-bodied reservist, right? Mm-hmm. That would be the worst case scenario if you got to send me back anywhere. Anyway. But like I said, right? Mm-hmm. We all got our little ideas, but until Christian Fellowship Church showed me the Pentecostal doctrine, right? When I was among the Southern Baptists, I just thought of the Trinity, and I didn't really worry about the dream, because on my dream there was one throne and one light on the throne, right? So I just thought that was God and whatever, right? Else was going on, and I saw the Father, right? I knew Jesus was the Son, and I knew that the Holy Ghost was in me, right? Kind of, right? Though they also say there are three separate persons, all three male, right? Well, then you're saying God the Father is male, God the Son is male, and God the Holy Ghost is male, but where's the female? Mm-hmm. You can't have a son without a mother, right? You can't have a Holy Ghost without her also being in the female, right? And if God made everything, ain't it all of the creatures mother and father? Right. Technically. Right. Not one or the other either, but both. If it formed us all, mm-hmm, and gave us all the breath of life, right? From the amoeba all the way up to us. Well, you don't think an living angel, mm-hmm, in heaven, right, can take a little amoeba, form it, right, from the matter in the earth, right, that it needs to make it, as you're trying to do, scientists, right, and medical people, mm-hmm, and give it life, right, even if it's in heaven, don't know, all the way up to Neanderthal or Cro-Magnon or whatever, right? It may be part of the test was not to mate with different species, right? You understand? And when we did, right, it dumbed us down, right? Whatever, I know. I'm just making suggestions like you are, I know. So your hypothesis, right, is the first ask a question of something, right? Well, Paul said God is seen by the things it made, even its eternal power and Godhead, right? And it made two for certain creatures. Certain creatures are hermaphroditic, certain creatures are asexual, and everything has a way about it. For instance, instead of the female seahorse having a pouch, the male does. So the female and male, mm-hmm, instead of the female carrying the child, the male does. But they were made that way. They were made for the male to carry have the pouch, right? And again, right, carry the offspring, right? Now, if God could do that with a seahorse, right, the male carries the children and the female deposits her eggs and the male sperms them in the pouch, I guess, right? I know. That's reverse to us, but it's also a little seahorse, right? Right. You don't have them as big as in Aquaman or something, right? But anyway. If you did, though, right, that's how they would have to reproduce at that size, right? Two. Right, right. But even Atlantis or whatever, right? The people are male and female too, right? Now the first person, right, was one and made two, right? No matter how much you can't see that 6,000 years later, and the agents of God don't understand why, right? But if you still can't see that, fine. I understand, right? But there is the angel factor, right? If Satan and his angels sin through sexual intercourse with man and woman, right? From Genesis fall, right, in chapter 3 to Genesis chapter 6, right? That would also explain scientists and alien hunters, right? Why we're finding all that technology back then, too. These are divine beings from heaven, right? Who were once in a different realm, who illegally came to the earth, right? Now, is what they're showing us, though, good or evil? Right. Right. It's good and evil, right? You need to pick a side, though. Either be cold or hot, not lukewarm. You're in the middle there, right? Now, I'm not talking about when you're in the road, you got to stay between the two lines. Yeah, you got to do that. Now, only if something's coming towards you do you normally get out the way, right? You ain't got no choice there, right? Or unless something's in your blind spot and you can't see it, nor your car's sensors. And you would have to be at the perfect spot for that to happen, right? And me backing out towards you at an angle and you not stop where someone would expect you to be stopping in the parking lot, right? Anyway. Now, here's the point. Even if you are, who's where they're not supposed to be, right? Stop, right? You or me? You. I know. Your angle to my angle and backing up was so unusual. My car didn't even warn me I was getting near you, right? Which would only affect your rear bumper and tail light, if at all. And not only would I back up and not expect you to be there, why were you there? What were you doing? Waiting for me to back up and then pull out and you get my space? Right? Did you have the car in reverse? Did you let your foot off the brake and hit me? I don't know. Right? I told you that too. I don't know how we hit, but however we hit, it was in the middle of my vehicle on my car, right? The only way that can happen is if you're backing up into me as I'm backing up myself, and then I go forward suddenly, right? And then you're hitting me as I'm going forward, right? But it also would explain why there's no damage below that particular problem, right? Or um, what do you call it? The damaged area of the vehicles, right? Because if you hit a vehicle, there's going to be damage, right? Now, if your vehicle is pretty much in line, right, with her vehicle, right, even if it's slant on both one side and goes down, right, the bumper would be crushed, right, on her vehicle, and mine, right. You can't hit someone in the middle, right, of a vehicle without it crushing, if the vehicle is slanted down, the rest of her bumper, right? I know. Unless there was something between both vehicles that you couldn't see, and it made sure both vehicles didn't hit fully, and absorb the impact. That would be divine intervention, though, not not human intervention, right? But what about it, right? Okay. Life goes on, right? Get over it or don't, right? You got my info, same as I got yours. If I have a problem, I'll go to yours or my insurance company, right? If I don't, I won't, right? I can let that bump go. That small damage on my vehicle. That should have been worse. If you can't get your vehicle fixed, end of discussion. You don't need me for that then. I'm not gonna do nothing about it. I'm gonna forgive it, right? That ain't worth my insurance company or your insurance company fixing it, because they would just have to get a new damn bumper anyway, a new damn rear, and to replace the old one, right? Which would be the easiest thing to do anyway. That's usually what they do. They go into a junkyard where someone had a front end collision, right? Which again is normally how wrecks happen anyway, not while backing up. Depending on where you're at when the person is backing up, right? Because I asked that question too. If someone is backing up in a parking lot, right, but the other person done went past you, right, who's at fault if they stopped somewhere but weren't at parking? Right? Can they park in a parking lot where there's no parking space, right, while you're backing up at an angle to them, right, and your sensors not go off, right, and then you just back up and go forward anyway? And then she jumps out the car like a lunatic, acting like you hit her, and you're not sure what the hell even happened or how that would happen, right? But again, that's all I know happened, right? I ain't paying attention to all of that. I admit it, right? I wasn't expecting her to stop where she stopped. No one does unless they're trying to back into the parking space. And again, right? How do I know she didn't hit me, right? And is then trying to make it my fault because she knows it looks weird anyway. Herself. Now, if neither car was seriously damaged, neither car really needs to be fixed now, do they? Right? Let it go. Because if they investigate it, they gotta figure all that out too. How did all this happen, right? But if you want to, you can. I just don't know what to do about it. It's such a small little dent, right? Barely noticeable, right? And it ain't a big deal, right? That's all I can say about it, right? But like I told you, if I'm somewhere else and someone has to come into me, I'm not going after them, right? Nope. And the only way I can interact with her is if she comes there alone, right? And then I have to deal with her if she wakes me up, right? And then I gotta figure out why she's in there, and they're only innocent reasons, right? And at 4, she can't remember everything herself once she's in there, right? And unless Daphne's trying to set me up with a video camera under the TV or something, right? I don't know what the hell you're talking about, right? Or the Navy is. And had her to send her daughter in there to wake me up, right? That's messed up too. I'm sleeping on the couch. What the hell am I supposed to do, right? Normal things, right? Well, there are 4 reasons a child might wake you up in the middle of the night: eat, drink, pee, or they want a bath. All 4 reasons, right? I don't know, right? I would have to examine, right, with the child, right, once she woke me up. Mm-hmm. Now, if I assume she has to go to the bathroom, right, and she's already in the living room with me, I know the best way to deal with that, right, and I'm already near the couch or TV area, is to take off her panties, right, leave her t-shirt on if she's dressed or not, right. Usually you're in the summer, you go to bed with the t-shirt and the pair of pants, at least, or panties, right? If not pajamas, right? You know what I mean, right? That sounds like something I'm having to make up. I don't remember this, right? By the way, too, right? Not you telling them I'm Melissa, my stepdaughter, but not how. I'm not how. Wait a minute, I'm sleeping on the couch, fool. How can I molest someone when I'm not alone with him, right? No one, I know, unless you're a stark raving lunatic, right? Or a fucked up husband leaving your wife in her bedroom, right? Or a fucked up stepdad, right? Leaving his wife in the bedroom, right? And this is how it usually happens. The stepdad or the biological dad go to the daughter's room or the son's room even, right? And starts trying to have sex with the child, right? Then they say, oh, the child wanted it, or she wanted me to do it. No, you, the adult, know what sex is. The child is innocent, like Adam and Eve, right? In Eden, before encountering the tree of knowledge of good and evil, which is a tree. You don't call an apple tree the tree of the knowledge of good and evil, do you? No. But a human being, right? As Satan incarnate, you would call the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. Yes, you would. And like I told you, idiot, read the Gnostic Gospels. It even speaks of the phoenix, right? You know what the phoenix does, right? When it reaches its day of death, right? It burns up in a fire, and from the ashes rises again, right? That's angelic too, by the way. Yes, it is. So even if you want to cremate your body, ashes to ashes as well, much as dust to dust, God can still raise you from the dead, right? I don't know if he had to do that because Peter overreacted when John told him he saw boobs on Jesus, right? Or his paps, right? Spelling it M-A-S-T-O-I-S, right? Not M-A-S-T-O-S, not M-A-S-T-O-U-S, but like Luke spelled it, right? When talking of women, right? A woman nursing her child, right? Now, he also puts a girdle around them. Didn't he lean on Jesus' bosom and chest, right? Though he called it stethos, right? But if you have a girdle on, right, underneath your clothes, and it's made out of leather, as most belts are, even Paul's girdle in Acts, which is normally worn around the waist, when the prophet warned him about going forward and that he will be bound, right? Mm-hmm. And would go a prisoner if he kept going, right? Even though he knew that, he kept going, right? Mm-hmm. Now, Christ also said, unless you bind the strong man, you cannot ransack his house. Right? So I probably don't got nothing you want anyway. Bet. Again, this is to start a church, right? What do you think the instruments are for? Me? To play it by myself one by one, right? No, I'm trying to start a church in my house and find a. First, you gotta what? Get some of the things you need, right? If I have a church, I'm going to need instruments for my people in my choir to have a way to sing, right? So I got guitars, I got electric guitar, this, that, the other, right? Of course, they can bring their own stuff, right? But I got the bongos, the congos, the drum set, right? I got electric guitar, got amps, right? And got bass, right? Keyboards all over the place, small and large, right? And that's for our little band, right? Though some people don't think you need instruments, right? Though the Bible don't say that, right? David talks about the harp, right? And all that, right? A harp is at least a 3-string instrument. And he also says, make a new song unto the Lord, right? Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Mm-hmm. Right. Mm-hmm. And that's the whole point too, right? Mm-hmm. But see, I can't prove I took the right or wrong key, right? I can't do nothing about it. However, the wrong key or right key got back to me, right? But I do know, right? All I was doing was waiting for my food while eating the tortilla chips and salsa, right? They serve you at most Mexican restaurants, right? That don't or aren't Taco Bell. Though I do Taco Bell once in a while too, right? But some restaurants, you sit down and eat and you wait for the meal, right, to be prepared and served, right? But like I said, right, I would also make sure of her age and do certain things, right, and ask her, right. That's all I have to do is inquire, right, to show I'm not trying to sleep with a child, right. I know. Right. Now, if I know all this, right, you have a problem with the rules today, right? You're also trying to live as a first century Jew, not using the law, but abusing the law. Mm-hmm. Now, once you find a wife, yeah, then you can stay faithful to her, right? But a girlfriend, right, who won't commit to you, right, is just being a lover on the side who you don't know you're with, I guess, huh? Right? Exactly. Right. So at the same time, a woman can do that, right? Because you can have premarital sex, right? But the Bible doesn't force you, right? It says, if you do have it, get married. Address her father, let her know, hey, we have sex, right? Ask her hand in marriage if she's unbetrothed. I know. If she's not, you can both be stoned, right? If she is betrothed, right? You can both be stoned, right? You can't stone one or the other, either, unless she's being raped, right? Then, if she cries out, yeah, you can say, okay, she cried out, right? During the sex, right? And he forced her, right? And no one was there to save her. And like I told you, right? You can't always, right? Since God's the Spirit anyway, have an angel save you all the time. Even the Levite's concubine was raped from a certain time until the breaking of day, right? Knocked on the door and fell down and died from all the abuse, right? Now, these men are not her husband, right? Or her men, right? And the concubine was the same as what we would call a live-in lover, right, today. Now, the woman at the well had 5 husbands who she divorced her, right? The 6th one was not even her husband. Don't judge Christians' premarital sex either, right? Jesus didn't judge her, but she didn't know he was the Messiah until he said he was the Messiah, did she? No. And he told her all that about herself. But did he judge her or do it to save her, to show her who he was? Yeah, no. Now, we also don't know, if this is a little Rachel and Jacoby, right? And that, they didn't do nothing as he hung out there a few more days, right? Themselves, right? It don't say he did, though he did tell his disciples, I have meat to eat of that you know not. And meat is also associated with sex, right? As well, as works, right? Or knowledge of God, right? So we can't say he did something with her. We can't say he didn't do something with her. Only her and Jesus, cause the author is John, right? No. But then we have the woman caught in the act of adultery, right? So who is she cheating on, right? They don't usually charge a prostitute with adultery, right? Even if she's sleeping with a married man. Even then, if they were to, you don't bring her to a Messiah. No. He can't decide that fate anyway. Only the wife could, right? Because she's the one that's being adulterized there. If she's a prostitute, that is, right? He's cheating on his wife with the prostitute, a woman who be paid money to be with, right? Right. He can't do that either, right? Yeah. Okay. Now, if you're single, right, like Samson or Hosea, the Bible don't say you can't marry a prostitute, but you know what you're getting yourself into, brother. If you do, I know, right? All right, then, right. You can love her like Hosea, but no, she ain't a faithful woman, and you gotta forgive her, right? You can't just control her, right? You know what kind of woman she was before she met you, right? If you know that, right, and you go into that, right, you get what you sow, right? You reap, again, what you sow. Though sex, right, if Jesus is married or not himself, you don't know, right? But sex is also free or bound, right? Meaning you have to pay for it. Now, if you have a wife, you got to pay to feed her, right? Clothe her, and give her the place to stay and a car and things like that, like I told you, right? That's why I said if you marry me, right, I can get you those things, right? I can get a second car. I can get you clothing. I can get you money, right? Because both the VA and SSI will pay me more if I have a dependent. You would then be a dependent, right? But if you're not a dependent and you're trying to take care of yourself, again, right, I'm free if you're free, right? But if you're not free, I'm not free, right? You're not supposed to be either, right? If you have someone, right? If you're divorcing them or legally separated, so was I, know, right? I don't judge you that way either. I've been with a legally separated woman myself, right? But Christ don't force you to stay together either. That's the choice. That's what he means, right? Are you committing adultery if your wife committed adultery against you and you divorce her, or if you stranded in Tennessee and you divorce her, move back to base, right? If she did, you would think she didn't really want you, but to get her daughter from her mother anyway, and that's the best thing for her. Leave her alone. No. Maybe she didn't want you at all. Just her daughter, right? I told you that too, right? See, unlike Sheena, where she's on another ship and I'm on another ship, I don't know what the hell's going on, right? Even, or she's acting weird all of a sudden. But I admit, I'm telling her things I had problems telling Pastor Davis and Pastor Thomas anyway, right? And other people I tried to talk to about the dream, try to figure out what it means off and on, right? But at the same time, right? I know. I need a man like Daniel or someone who, like Joseph, could understand dreams, right? Not every man you tell your dream to may want to interpret it for you either, right? Especially if you're standing in front of the throne of God in heaven and you see a light on the throne and that's all you had, right? And it lasted them more than 3 to 5 seconds and that's all you know about it, right? Though it does mean you stood before the throne of God in heaven. Yeah. Literally in a dream. Now you can do what you want, right? And you can say what you want, right? But if I don't know what's going on, that's all I can tell you there. I don't remember, right? And only if I really don't remember do I tell you I don't know, right? As well. But, move on.